Hello and welcome to Story Time and the presentation of a buyer beware for anyone looking for a Honda P12 ECU on eBay. Now this particular computer I've already purchased myself. You can see I ordered it November 4th. You can also see which it has been returned and I have been refunded. This is the seller. I purchased this ECU for my 1993 Accord, model LX, automatic transmission, is a F22A1, completely stock, with a PT3 ECU, currently a P12 ECU as a plug-and-play direct upgrade. I want to make it very clear that it is interchangeable. The PT3 ECU in the CB7 Accords is directly interchangeable with the P12 ECU in the similar year model Preludes F22A1. Now, this computer which I have purchased, reading in the item description, you can see this computer will work for you if your original unit has the same part number listed in our title. Okay, fair enough. Please check your original unit, compare part numbers before purchasing. If there are any differences in your part number, do not purchase. The item will not work. Now personally, I like to think they should eliminate the first part of this sentence and only leave this part. The item will not work. Because I can say, sure enough, that this item will not work, which is why it's been returned and why it's been refunded. Okay, part number of your original unit must be completely identical to the replacement unit you are looking at, which is false. Completely false, and we'll get into that in a minute. We'll break down the Honda part numbers for their ECUs, what they mean, and why this statement is completely incorrect. Now, next, most ECU engine computers need to be reprogrammed by a professional to your vehicle to function on your vehicle. Okay? Without programming, most ECUs will not function. It's just a broad statement. I get why he puts it there. He probably puts it in the description for all of his ECUs, but in the case of this computer specifically, it is not correct. It is false. This ECU does not need to be reprogrammed. You can unplug it from one vehicle and plug it into another, and it would work exactly the same. There's no chips in the keys. There's no security systems. It is simply an engine control module. OBD1. Now, next, this statement here. If there are any damages on the unit, we will point it out in the photos. Please make sure to examine all photos before purchasing. Okay, I did examine all photos before purchasing. There was an important photo missing. There was severe corrosion on the pins. Each and every pin had severe corrosion, oxidation. It looked like it had been in salt water for quite some time. I wasn't able to get a great picture of the affected area. Well, I'm sure the affected area was entirely inside the computer, but I wasn't able to get a clear quality picture of just the pins themselves. But you can see here, you see the little lines right there where it made contact with the pins of the wiring harness. And you can see how much corrosion is scraped off of the ECU. Everything around that line is corrosion, right? And I had to play with the connectors a few times trying to make contact before realizing that this ECU would not work because it has internal corrosion and or other damage. Next, I wish I would have seen this before making my purchase. So when you go to the feedback profile of this seller, some point in the last 6 months, we have two things to look at, two things to note. This is a ECM, ECU, PCM, whatever, another different one that the seller sold. We see the item was defective and the starting system on the PCM is bad. Seller didn't return item or exchange it because it had been a few days over the 30 days. I was checking to be sure the ECU was bad, and it went over the 30 days trying to save on shipping costs and fees. Anyway, the point is, from this, the item was defective. PCM is bad. Seems to be a commonality here. Now, this one. Again, ECU, ECM, engine computer, and this one particularly is a Honda unit. The seller is a scammer. The same seller inspected the equipment and changed all the OEM screws. Knowing that it was burned, he put security seals to make people believe that the equipment was good. The smell came out of the equipment. They want to claim that if they remove the security seals, there is no guarantee, knowing that the equipment is damaged, and putting security seals on it is a scam. The seller is a thief, etc., etc. Now the stickers, we're going to get to those stickers. Mine had the same ones. I had 4 of them in total. They're obviously just generic stickers. More than likely I can find those for sale on eBay if I wanted. But the point there is he's just placing these stickers on computers that are not inspected. Many of these computers he's selling have issues, and if you cut the stickers to check for damage, now you can no longer return it because you've tampered with it. So as you can see, I purchased this exact computer for $80, which apparently is the going rate for these P12s now. As soon as I placed the order, which I did place late at night, but as soon as I placed the order, almost like it was automated, it says, "Hello, what is the part number of your original unit? Please respond to us as soon as possible so we can confirm fitment and ship. Thank you, GSL." Only 4 minutes later, same night, only 4 minutes later, "Hi, what's the part number of your original unit? Double question mark. For this item to function, your part number must either be an exact match or interchangeable. Kindly share your part number with us so we can confirm compatibility." Again, this is false. For this item to function, your part number must be either an exact match or interchangeable. I'm not sure what they would consider interchangeable to be, but they also back out on that statement later on. To make things easy, I said same number, thanks, because I know that a PT3 and a P12 are different, but are, in fact, directly interchangeable. I'm still not going to present that information, so to make things easy, I say same number, thanks, so that we can move on and they can ship me the item that I ordered. Over a week later, I've already installed it. It does not work. I've absolutely guaranteed, verified that it does not function at all. I was a little pissed, but I say the ECU appears to not be functional. When I plug it in, the car does not fire ignition, which is true. I have no power to the ignition coil with this ECU installed. I say I swap to a good ECU and it fires immediately, which I did. As soon as I plug in the P12, we start losing power to the ignition and probably a lot of things, because I'm sure the circuitry inside is totally ruined. I then say, was this ECU tested and inspected? In response to my question, I get a question. They will not say if it has been tested or inspected, because they know it hasn't. Instead, they say, what's the full part number found on the sticker of your engine computer? And I'm assuming that's because they know that it's going to be different at this point, and they can blame that on the reasoning of it not working. And I did slip up a little bit. I typed out A55, which, again, we're going to get into all these numbers later and what they mean, but an A55 doesn't even exist. Okay, they don't know that, but it doesn't, because there was no revision number 5 for the P12 ECUs. But regardless, without that last number in play, and all of these numbers being the same, it would be interchangeable. So then he replies and states that you mentioned that your part number is the same as mine when we last communicated, but that's not the case. Okay, if we just stop there, that's true. He's not wrong, that's true. But again, it does not apply to this situation at all. It has nothing to do with the fact that this computer does not work. I'm not going to say it's defective, because it's not a factory defect, but it is a bad unit that he should not be selling to people. Now, moving on. The ECU you ordered has the part number, lists my part number, while the one you received has this part number. These part numbers are not the same. Well, no shit. Well, what a great observation, which I'm already fully aware of, but again, this is not true, okay? You're saying are not interchangeable because they are. Well, I mean, this number doesn't even exist, right? The 5 doesn't even exist. That's not even a thing. But regardless of what you replace the number with, it is interchangeable. You can put any digit you want right there, and it would still be interchangeable with this, and which would even still be interchangeable if you added PT3 instead of P12. So anyway, regardless, it says, you ordered the incorrect computer. I didn't. I found this computer by searching specifically for the part number. So again, wrong. As our product description clearly states, it's important to match the part numbers as they are part number sensitive. In a sense, yes, you're correct, but in this case, you're just trying to justify selling me something that does not work. And then he tells me, here's how to return your item. And get this, select ordered by mistake as your return reason. So he doesn't want me to state that the item is defective or non-functional. Instead, he wants me to say that I ordered it by mistake, when in fact I did not order it by mistake. I ordered it on purpose by searching for the part number, and I believed that this item was functional, and at the price it should be functional, which it was not. And I go on to say it is not functional. The warranty seals are still intact, which they were, and the warranty seals were the only reason I didn't open it up to look inside. And I will organize the return. And that is the last I ever heard of him. I will give props to eBay because they processed the return and the refund and everything quite quickly. And they did also refund my tax. So I'm not losing anything besides time, effort, and a little bit of sanity through this. But good job to eBay at least. Return reason doesn't work or defective. I did not fill it out the way that he wanted me to. The item is not functional. Because of this, I was not able to use the item. The item has not been tampered with and retains seller's warranty seals intact. The seller claims that this item is not interchangeable with my original item, while in fact it is, and this item is simply non-functional. Now, moving on, this is Honda's website. Anyone can look at this. And I'm not going to read everything on the page, but essentially this is how these Honda ECUs work. This is what we're looking at here. 3 components. Honda's part number for the ECU, which is always 37820, right? 3 characters, which are loosely related to the model of the car and engine, and 3 characters, which are the revision of the ECU, which is a quite a vague descriptor. But this breaks it down a little better here. So the middle 3 characters are most useful to identify the ECU. The last 3 characters are broken down into 3 parts. A, used for US ECUs. Okay. The second digit, 0, means manual transmission, where 5 means automatic transmission. And the last digit, in their case was 1, is the version number. Okay. So with all of this information, let's look at how the model number of that ECU compares to the model number of my ECU and what differences there are, and if any differences would prevent it from being functional in my application. And the answer to that is no. So as we can see, decoding it the way that Honda suggests, they're both Honda ECUs. They're both meant to run an F22A1 engine. The only difference there being one is a Prelude and one is an Accord, right? Now they're both A, so they're both US production. They both have a 5, stating that they're both automatic transmissions. So the differences here are these descriptors here, which basically Prelude Type S and Accord LX and DX. And then the final number, which they call the revision number, which makes no significant changes in hardware whatsoever. Regardless of what this last number is, they will still plug and play interchangeably. Here's a post from the CB7 Tuners website. This post is from '09, by the way. So yes, it's been that long since people really played with Hondas. But someone says, is there anything extra you had to do when replacing it? Like, was it a straight swap and you're good to drive? This guy says, nope, no mods needed. Just unplug your stock ECU and plug this one up. And it really, really should be that simple if the ECU you get is indeed functional. So that was my buyer beware, so everyone can look out for this particular listing on eBay and do not purchase it, because the seller is indeed relisting the item and trying to sell it once again, knowing that their item is not good and not usable. But maybe I would assume what they're trying to do is trying to finally have someone purchase it that will cut the warranty seals and look inside, thereby deeming it non-refundable. In that case, they will win. They will successfully complete their scam. Now, in some cases, when customers dispute things just enough, eBay will indeed process a refund anyway. But in this case, the seller is obviously aware that his item is not good and is trying to sell it anyway.